In 2008, as one giant bank after another wobbled and fell, the people who understood the system best were terrified of something most of us had never heard of. Not the banks themselves, but the machinery sitting between them. Because if that machinery ceased, it would not be one bank failing. It would be the market itself, the ability to buy and sell anything at all, simply stopping. Here is the problem that machinery quietly solves, and it is one you never think about. When you buy something in a shop, you hand over cash and take the goods. The deal is done on the spot. But in financial markets, a trade agreed today might not fully complete for days, which opens a frightening gap. What if, in those days, the other side goes bust before they pay you? Something has to protect you from a stranger's promise. The answer is one of the most important institutions almost nobody outside finance can name. It sits invisibly in the middle of a staggering share of the world's trades. And its entire job is to make sure that when you make a deal, it simply does not matter whether the person on the other side is trustworthy or even still in business tomorrow. It is called a clearing house or a central counterparty. And it does something clever and slightly magical. The instant a trade is struck, it steps into the middle and splits it in two. It becomes the buyer to every seller and the seller to every buyer. You no longer face the stranger you traded with, you face the clearing house. Everyone, in effect, ends up trading with the same trusted institution. Follow a single trade. You agree to buy from someone on the far side of the world. The clearing house steps in. Now, it owes you the asset and you owe it the money, while separately, it is owed by your original counterparty. If that counterparty vanishes overnight, that is the clearing house's problem, not yours. Your side of the deal completes regardless. The stranger's risk has been quietly absorbed. But that raises an obvious question. Who protects the clearinghouse? It protects itself, ruthlessly. Everyone who trades through it must post collateral upfront, a cushion called margin, and top it up constantly as prices move. It holds a mountain of these deposits, plus a shared emergency fund, precisely so that if one member fails, the collateral covers the loss before it can spread to anyone else. And the scale it sits on is almost incomprehensible. Clearing houses stand in the middle of hundreds of trillions of dollars in trades, a value many times the size of the entire world economy, nearly every share, and vast oceans of more complex contracts pass through a small number of these institutions. They are the quiet junction box through which a huge fraction of global finance flows. Which is exactly why, in 2008, the fear was so sharp. By pulling all that risk into one place, we made the ordinary trader far safer, but we also built something new. If a clearinghouse itself ever failed, there would be no backstop behind it, because it is the backstop. We solved the danger of 1,000 risky strangers by concentrating it into a handful of institutions that absolutely cannot be allowed to fall. And here is what keeps regulators awake at night. We have made these clearinghouses so central and so systemically vital that they have become the ultimate example of too important to fail. An enormous amount of careful rulemaking now exists for a single purpose: to make sure the thing that protects every trade never, itself, needs protecting. Which is the quiet bargain underneath every market. You can trade freely with strangers across the whole world without a moment's worry about whether they will actually pay, because an invisible institution has stepped into the middle of every deal and taken that worry onto itself. Trust, it turns out, was never abolished. It was gathered up and centralized. So the next time you buy or sell anything in a market, remember what is really standing behind it. Not the stranger you traded with, but a silent counterparty in the middle, holding a mountain of collateral, absorbing the risk that anyone fails to pay. Every trade has an invisible partner you never chose, and the whole market holds together only for as long as it does.